May, are you there? I want to know just what the heck you think you're doing, huh? I mean, really, what is the matter with you? How could you do this to your own sister? How could you sleep with your own sister's husband? What in the world drove you to do that?
I was wondering when you were finally going to come to try and scold me like the old hag you are. But you can cry all you want. To me, it just sounds like the sobs of a sore loser.
A sore loser? You can't be serious, right? How dare you call me that? You realize you're in the wrong here, don't you?
Says you. Things seem to be going pretty well from where I'm standing. After all, Brian works for such a huge company and earns so much. Not to mention he's incredibly handsome. He was way too good for a fat, ugly nobody like you. Clearly, Brian deserves to be with someone more on his level. Someone like me. I guess you could say that him and I were destined to be together.
What are you talking about? Are you seriously trying to tell me that your soulmate was my husband?
Actually, that reminds me. Are you just reaching out to me because you finally got the divorce papers from Brian? Or because you heard that we were going to the courthouse to register ourselves as husband and wife?
It was the divorce papers, if you must know, and when I couldn't get a hold of Brian, I knew that I had to call you to get to the bottom of this.
Well, at least you know the truth. Brian and I are getting hitched! Isn't that amazing?
I still can't believe that you're doing this. It's just horrible. How can you even live with yourself doing this to your own sister?
Oh, please. Can't you just accept that this is over and done with? Anyways, hurry up and send off those divorce papers so we can get married. Thank you, sis. Hey there, Trish. How have you been? Can you believe it's been 5 whole years since we've last talked? What have you been up to lately? Are you still fat, ugly, and single?
Wait, is that really you, May? Wow, I was wondering when you were finally going to reach out to me again. But I should have known that you've barely even changed even after all this time.
Excuse me? And just what is that supposed to mean, huh?
You know exactly what it means. Now why are you messaging me? What do you want?
Whatever, I can let mean comments from a loser like you slide. Actually, I have some big news that I need to share with you. So I guess we can just say that I'm being nice enough to ignore the snide remark that you made.
I don't really care what you do about that comment at this point. Just tell me what you're messaging me about.
So you really just want me to get straight to the point? No small talk or catching up after all this time?
May, do you have something you want to talk to me about or not? Because if not, then I don't see the point in carrying on like this.
You really are no fun, you know that? Fine. If you must know, next week I'm going to be coming home with my daughter!
Oh, wait, you're going to be coming with your daughter? I didn't even know that you had any children.
Well, I do. And that means that I gave our parents their very first grandchild. So, what do you think of that?
Well, how old is this daughter of yours?
She's 2 years old, if you must know.
2 years old? Is that really right?
Of course it is. You think I don't know how old my daughter is? Anyways, the reason that I'm coming home is because Brian and I got a divorce and I don't have anywhere else to go now. So, I'm coming back home.
Oh no, you mean that you two got a divorce? I thought that you were soulmates.
Can you believe it? I thought that we were soulmates too. That damn Brian quit his big fancy job and then took something that paid way less. He said some dumb thing about wanting to follow his dreams, and I know that that wasn't going to work out between us.
Hold on a second. So you're telling me that you went to the trouble of stealing your own sister's husband and then ended it all over a career change?
Sure, he might not have just become unemployed, but he took a job that paid so much less than what he used to get. I had no choice but to leave him, don't you see?
And now you want to come crawling back home because you have nowhere else to go?
I mean, that's a pretty nasty way of putting it, but the meaning is basically there.
And you really think that you can just disappear from all of our lives for 5 years and then just show up like nothing happened?
I think that when Mom and Dad see their favorite daughter come home with their first grandchild, that they might give me a break.
Well, we'll just see about that, won't we?
I suppose we will. Or rather, we would, but I have other plans. Namely, you're taking up too much space at Mom and Dad's house, and all you're going to do is get in the way of me. So, I need you out.
Sorry, you're trying to kick me out of the house. Do I understand that right?
Of course. What use even is there of keeping around some divorced old hag like you, huh? Nobody needs or wants you. Why do you think Brian left you when he realized that your sister was far superior to you, huh? I don't even know what he saw in you to begin with.
You know, I really don't think that you know what you're talking about right now at all.
And just what is that supposed to mean? Do you know something that I don't?
You could say that. For example, you aren't the one giving Mom and Dad their first grandchild.
What are you talking about? How is my daughter not their first grandchild?
Well, that would be because they already have a 4-year-old grandson, I'm afraid. In fact, they have 4 other grandchildren in addition to him.
Wait a second. You're telling me that you have 5 children? But that can't be right. I mean, you're such a fat, ugly cow. Who in the world would want to have kids with you?
Sorry, I guess I should have made that clear. It isn't that all 5 of the kids are my children.
What are you talking about them? Did you take in some strays off the street or something? Is this supposed to be some kind of plan to get Mom and Dad to like you more than they like me?
No, it's nothing like that, but as you know, we have a 3rd sister, right? Well, a few years ago, she married someone she was going to college with, and they started spitting out kids like nothing.
Hold on a second. You're telling me that Paula got married? Well, how many of the kids are hers then?
That's right. She got married, and her husband have 3 kids between the 2 of them now. Of course, she's the youngest of us, and we were all worried since she got pregnant her first year of college. But she stayed with her boyfriend, who's been really very supportive and responsible. As for me, I have a 2-year-old daughter and an 8-month-old son, so altogether our parents already have 5 grandchildren.
But, I mean, she's the youngest. But she gave our parents their first grandchildren. You have to be lying to me. I refuse to believe that you're telling me the truth. And how do you have 2 kids already? You're supposed to be alone forever.
You are right that some men in this world would hold having gotten divorced against a woman, but there are plenty of understanding men out there as well. Besides, it isn't like I've just been some shut-in ever since the last time we talked. For example, I still have my same job that I did when you fled.
But I don't get it. This wasn't how things were supposed to go.
Anyways, I feel like we've gotten a little bit off topic. But what were you saying about wanting to move back in with your daughter?
That's right. Even though I might not be bringing home Mom and Dad's first grandchild, I'm still their favorite daughter, and I know they'll love to have me come home. So, before I get there, I need you to move out of the house and make room for me. I don't care if you're there with your husband and kids. I want you all out.
But I don't even live with Mom and Dad anymore.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Yeah, a few months ago we were moving out of there, and now we're all gone from the house.
But that means that if you're gone, then I should just be able to move in without any issues, right?
I just really don't know if there would still even be a room left for you there, though.
What do you mean? If you and your family have all moved out, then there's got to be plenty of space for me there.
Do you even know where Mom and Dad's house is?
Of course I do! You really think that I don't have their address? Did you really think I was going to let something like that stop me from what I was doing? Thanks for telling me that you're gone. You've made this whole thing so much easier for me. Finally, tomorrow I can go home. Trish, are you there? What's going on? I don't understand. Where's the house? Why isn't the house where it's supposed to be? It's just a flat, empty lot now?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Mom and Dad were doing their best to stay there and keep the house. But in the end, they decided that it would just be easier to sell the whole thing and downsize.
So you're telling me that Mom and Dad sold their house and moved away?
That's right. Although I don't really know about how much they sold it for or who they sold it to, but I guess whoever owns the property now had some reason to get rid of the house. But then again, it was getting quite old, and I don't even know how safe it was to be inside.
But what about Mom and Dad? Where are they living now? What did they do after they moved?
Well, I told you about how a few months ago my husband and I were getting ready to move out, right?
That's right. You told me that you were all getting ready to move out of their house, but where did Mom and Dad go after that?
I guess I should have been more clear. It wasn't just my family that was doing that. Mom and Dad moved out then as well. They applied for a waiting list at a retirement home and have been renting an apartment until an opening comes along.
You mean that Mom and Dad are going to try and move into a retirement home?
I mean, they aren't exactly spring chickens anymore, you know? So they're in a pretty small space for the time being so that they can save up their money for when they move into the home. That's why I said that I really don't think that there would even be a room for you if you did move there.
But surely they must have some room for me. I mean, I'm their prettiest and favorite daughter, right?
I really think that you're the only one who thinks of yourself in that way. Because I'm pretty sure that our parents actually all love us equally.
No, that can't be true. How could you say something so awful?
I mean, if anything, you're now their least favorite after how you stole my husband from me. In fact, you should know that they told me if you ever show up in our lives again trying to ask for help, that they would have no problem turning you down right away.
But then, where am I supposed to go? Trish, are you there? I really need you right now. It's just terrible.
What is it this time, May? What could you possibly want from me now?
Are you really living in Brian's parents' house? What is going on? I want answers right now.
What are you talking about? I seriously have no idea what you're going on about.
I mean that after I learned about Mom and Dad's plans to move into a retirement home, I didn't have anywhere else to go. So then I tried going back to Brian's parents' place to try and patch things up with him. We were renting an apartment together before, but I know that he canceled the lease after we got divorced. So I thought that he might have gone back to live with his parents for the time being, but then when I got to his parents' house, I saw that your car was parked in their parking lot. Also, it wasn't even their house that was there anymore. Their house had been demolished and replaced with this really amazing-looking mansion?
Oh, that's what you're talking about. I guess that means that you were that sad-looking lady with her daughter that I saw staring from my window.
How dare you call me that? Just tell me what's going on right this instant. I want answers.
Right. I guess maybe I should have explained this to you the last time we talked. But the man that I got married to after you ran away was actually Brian's cousin.
Wait, what? You married Brian's cousin? But hold on. Isn't Brian's cousin that genius entrepreneur who was on the cover of all those finance magazines?
Yeah, actually, now that you mention it, I think that he has had a couple of interviews and photo shoots and stuff like that.
But then that still doesn't explain how Brian's cousin ended up owning Brian's parents' house. How did that happen?
Well, that happened about 5 years ago, actually, not long after you and Brian ran off with each other. Brian's mom was so shocked by what her son had done that she actually had to be hospitalized.
Wait, really? Are you serious about that?
Yep, I'm very serious about it. But I guess that you two were so caught up with what you were doing that you never heard about that happening. But anyways, Brian's parents just wanted a new start and got out of that house as soon as possible. So their nephew offered to buy their land for a good price so that they could get out right away. It wasn't long after that that we bumped into each other while running. Sparks flew, and the rest is history, pretty much. He demolished the house, and we built up a new one, and here we are.
But if his cousin bought the house from his parents, then what happened to Brian? I was sure that he would have gone back to live with his parents.
Actually, now that you say that, Brian stopped by here just a couple of days ago.
Hold on. Brian was here just a couple of days ago?
Yeah, that's right. He, like you, thought that his parents' house would still be here waiting for him. But the only person who was home then was his cousin, who explained to him what happened. Of course, he didn't give Brian his parents' new address. After Brian realized he wasn't going to get anywhere with his cousin, he just wandered off dejectedly.
Well, it would have been good to know all of this before I came all the way here.
I guess so. It's not really my problem either way. If you want to try and get back together with Brian, that is completely up to you. Either way, I want you to leave me out of it and stay away from my house. My husband and I don't want anything to do with you or whatever you're scheming.
But I don't have anywhere to go. You know that.
Well, don't think that you can come to me asking for help, because I have nothing to say to you at all. Got it?
But you're my sister. You can't do this to me. Please, you have to help me. We're supposed to be there for each other at times like these, right?
Oh, please. When were you ever there for me? You literally disappeared from all of our lives for 5 years, and now you think you're entitled to our help? You have some nerve even thinking that that's an option for you. Just leave me alone.
Trish, please don't do this to me! You're all I have left.
You lost me a long time ago, May. Now just go away and leave me alone forever. After that, May ran up to my front door and started ringing the doorbell over and over again. She never stopped until I finally called the police on her and they told her to get off my property. After that, I never ever saw her again. Although according to some friends of friends who were still connected to my sister, she ended up moving in with some old friend, but she could never find Brian or anyone else to marry for that matter. I even heard that she ended up giving up her child for adoption since she could no longer take care of her. I never mentioned this to May, but Brian's parents actually ended up paying me off so that I wouldn't pursue their son for his infidelity. Not only that, but both May and Brian's parents ended up cutting them out of their wills. Although, I guess they have no way of knowing any of that now. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to see more content like this.